Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're digging into something pretty surprising, the comeback of a disease we all thought was basically history, measles.
Okay, so how did we even get here? I mean, a disease we nearly beat is suddenly back. Why? To really get what's going on, we have to start with the data, the numbers that first set off all the alarm bells. For decades, it really felt like we had this virus completely on the run. So, what changed?
And wow, this chart right here, it tells such a powerful story. Just look at that incredible drop between 2000 and 20. I mean, that's one of the biggest public health wins of our time, for sure. But then you see 2022. That spike, that complete 180, that's exactly why we're talking about this right now. And to put a number on that incredible progress, get this. Between 2000 and 2020, global vaccination efforts led to a staggering 94% drop in deaths from measles. We're not just talking stats here. That's literally millions of lives saved. The progress was absolutely undeniable. All right, so to really crack this case, we've got to understand the culprit, right? The measles virus itself. So what is it about this thing that makes it such a notorious superspreader? Well, its power really boils down to this one kind of stunning number. Its secondary attack rate is about 80%. And that figure, 80%, is so high it puts measles in the big leagues. It's one of the most infectious viruses known to science. Seriously? So, okay, what does that 80% actually mean in the real world? Well, picture this. If one person has measles in a house full of people who aren't immune, it's pretty much a guarantee that 8 out of 10 of them are going to get sick. It just spreads like wildfire. There's almost no stopping it once it's in. So how do you even spot this thing early on? Well, doctors have this classic checklist, a trio of symptoms they call the 3 C's. First, you've got a cough. Then there's coryza, which is just a fancy word for a really runny nose. And finally, conjunctivitis, those red, watery eyes. Think of that as the virus's opening act. But here's the real telltale sign, the one that's totally unique to measles. You get these tiny little white spots inside the cheek. They look almost like grains of salt. They're called Koplik spots, and they're what's known as pathognomonic, which is a great medical term that basically means if a doctor sees those spots, it's game over. The diagnosis is pretty much a sure thing, even before that famous rash appears. And the whole thing plays out on a really predictable timeline, almost like clockwork. About 10 days after you're exposed, that first stage kicks in with a fever and those 3 C's we just talked about. A couple of days after that, boom, the telltale Koplik spots show up. And then right around day 14, the main event, that famous rash starts to erupt, usually beginning behind the ears and then just spreading all the way down the body. Okay, so let's recap. We were making incredible progress, and we know this virus inside and out. So what on earth happened? How did we drop the ball? Well, the answer, it lies in the story of the pandemic's hidden victim. I mean, think about it. For 2 straight decades, we were winning. All that hard work was paying off. And then the world changed. A single, massive global event just came in and completely disrupted public health systems everywhere. It created the perfect opening, a vulnerability that the measles virus was just waiting to exploit. And that hidden victim? It was routine immunization. The very programs that have been so successful. As the entire world, understandably, focused all its attention on a new virus, these measles programs just got crippled. Resources were pulled away, lockdowns made it impossible to get to appointments, and the result was that millions and millions of kids just missed their shot. And all of that created the absolute perfect storm. See, experts have this kind of rule of thumb. When you get to a point where more than 40% of kids in a community are unprotected, you've hit a dangerous tipping point. That's when an epidemic can really take off. And what the pandemic did was push a lot of communities right over that critical line. So, okay, now we know why it happened. But here's the good news, and it's really good news. We have some incredibly powerful tools to fight back. We know exactly how to stop this virus in its tracks. And our number one weapon, our primary defense, is truly a marvel of modern medicine. It's what's called a live attenuated vaccine. Basically, it's like giving your immune system a personal trainer. It uses a super weakened, harmless version of the real virus to teach your body how to fight. So you build up this powerful, long-lasting defense without ever having to face the real danger. And how well does it work? It's just remarkable. After only 1 dose, about 85% of people are protected. But after that second recommended dose,
That number jumps all the way up to nearly 98%. It's honestly one of the most successful vaccines ever made. Period.
But wait, there's more. The virus itself has a huge weakness. It only has one serotype. Now, what that means is it doesn't change its disguise. It's not like the flu virus that's constantly evolving and coming out with new strains every year. Nope. Measles always looks the same. So the immunity you get, either from the vaccine or from getting sick, it's for life. Your body never ever forgets what it looks like.
Now, the vaccine is the star of the show, but a full battle plan involves a few other key things. You need good supportive care, simple stuff like nutrition and staying hydrated. Then there's vitamin A supplementation. This is super important because measles can actually drain your body of vitamin A, which can lead to serious complications like blindness. And finally, of course, you need isolation while someone's contagious to stop the chain of transmission.
So when you take a step back and look at this whole comeback story, what's the big takeaway? What's the major lesson here?
I think the most important thing to get is this. The measles virus didn't get stronger. It didn't mutate into some kind of superbug. It's the same old enemy we've been fighting forever. The change, the weakness, was on our side. Our global defenses got stretched thin for a couple of years, and the virus just walked right through the gap we accidentally left open. So let's wrap this up in a nutshell. We're dealing with a super contagious virus. You can spot it by that unique rash. We can stop it with a nearly perfect 2-dose vaccine. And the only reason it's back, our global immunization system took a temporary but major hit.
And all of this really leaves us with one final crucial question to think about. See, this comeback story, it isn't just about measles. It's a huge reminder that progress against any disease is, well, fragile. It's not a one-and-done victory. It takes constant work and strong, resilient health systems. So the real challenge now is figuring out how we make sure this is a lesson we never have to learn the hard way again.